we are live now. Go for it, and just whatever you like to share. You have as much time as you want. Thank you.
Hey, well, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for being here. And, I guess I'll start by sharing my story. And, I got started in LegalShield, like I was telling Ben, you guys earlier, that I met Brian Carruthers at a karaoke bar. He was at the after party at the business briefing he was speaking next to, because he actually lives an hour and a half away from that location. So he was speaking there. And for those of you that don't know, Brian Carruthers is the #1 money earner in LegalShield, over $1 million a year in income, just incredible. And but at the time, he was a $500,000 ring earner. He was not the #1 at the time. So I even watched him climb, which was really fun. So I was out with my girlfriend, and her boyfriend had just broken up with her. So we're like, let's go out. Let's go out. So we were out, and I met him at the bar, of all places. Okay. But anyway, he handed me his business card, and I handed him my business card, because I was selling health club memberships at the Rio Sport and Health Company, which was a gym, just like 24-hour fitness is. Most of us know 24-hour fitness. So it's kind of like that. And I was selling gym memberships. And I invited him to my gym and gave him a gym pass, and then the next day he reached out to me. He complimented me, and he basically introduced LegalShield to me and said, you have a really wonderful personality. Are you ever open to opportunities to earn, additional income, even residual income? And I'm like, yeah. And the funny thing is, I had just read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Wow.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where in the book, he has his father and he has his best friend's father, who both mentored and raised him. And his best friend's father was extremely wealthy. And so the rich dad said, Robert, the only way to get ahead in this country is to set up an asset that pays you a passive income, whether you're working or not, so you can get ahead. Because if you have a passive income coming in, whether you're working or not, it can free you up to do other things, right? And grow more and build more of your empire. So I had read that book, and I'm like, residual income, heck yes, So I was definitely ripe for the picking. And, but I'm glad that he didn't prejudge me that night, because think about it. He was out. He was you're out, you want to blow some steam, right? You want to, you're after work, you want to relax. He could have easily not shared with me LegalShield. He didn't share it with me that night that we met. And most people don't call after the fact once you've met someone, so I just am so grateful that he didn't prejudge me or overlook me, because today my life has changed. But more importantly, the 12,000 associates on our team's lives have changed. People that have been able to go full time and stay home with their children, people that have been able to retire, them and their spouses, people that have been able to be fully present as parents at home. So just think, when we hesitate sharing this opportunity with people, just think not only of that person's life that we miss out on potentially changing, but the thousands of people that they can touch as the ripple effect of sharing this opportunity. So when I was at George Washington University, I had gotten myself into a lot of credit card debt, because I don't know if you remember, Ben, they would stand outside of the cafeteria with these tables and say, sign up for this credit card, we'll give you a free t-shirt. Sign up for this credit card, you'll get free airline miles to Hawaii. And yes. I'm like, heck yeah.
Me too. Citibank got me. Citibank got me really well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Citibank, Discover Card, Visa, America's. I signed up for everything. And then I signed up for Victoria's Secret. And then Macy's would say, if you sign up today, you get an extra 10% off. And I just did it all. I just thought, oh, this is what you do, because they're offering it to me. This is what people do.
Yeah.
So I signed up for all these credit cards and I managed to continue carrying and accumulating balances that totaled $40,000. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm 24 years old now and I have $40,000 in debt. And I would cry once, at least once a month, I would cry when the bills were due, knowing how much it had accumulated to, and then also like also learning and then trying to get financially educated and learning how many years it was going to take me to pay this off. And that like a $10 shirt at Forever 21 would really eventually cost me $100 if I charged it and didn't pay it off. So it's like, oh my God. So it's like in the pain. But fortunately, because of this business, not only do we help you make extra money and leveraged income so you can get ahead, but we also teach you financial principles to learn that it's okay to not be like the masses. Like the masses are the ones with credit card debt, okay? And the minority are the wealthy who have learned to not spend what you don't have. Okay. And so like we learn to be okay with being the minority. The majority is, by the age of 65, so they say, is dependent on the federal government for retirement and have to live below their means for the rest of their lives. Well, the minority or the wealthy who have set up assets in business like LegalShield, where they can live freely, independently, in their retirement, traveling the world and spoiling their grandchildren and getting a chance to do their bucket list and all the things that they wanted to do to impact the world and to contribute to charities. Now that you're retired and you have the time to spend donating your time to charities in addition to the money that you're able to donate and make an impact on the world. See, that's the minority. So you have to be okay with being in the minority. You have to be okay with that, because if you want what, if you want what the, what do they say? If you want to dine with the classes, you have to avoid doing what the masses do, right? So just know that you're on the right journey. So I got started, okay? And so I got so excited and I started, at the time it was a DVD, today it's a video link, right? So it's so much easier to get the information, because I would have to physically mail this to you and you would have to wait 7 days to get it in the mail, depending upon where you live. And then I would have to say, watch it, watch it, watch it. But here now I could literally text you this link and you can watch it. And I was focused on sharing LegalShield with 2 new people a day, no matter what. Like don't go to bed at night unless you have shared LegalShield with your second person, at least 2 people a day. And I have an associate on my team who she had just been struggling trying to stay organized. I'm like, okay, what do I do with my time? Because I got exposures, I got follow-up. She doesn't have quite a team yet, but I'm like, okay, so here's a way to think about it. Do 2 exposures every day to new people. Do 2 new exposures a day. And then if you have more time, do 2 follow-ups from yesterday. Do 2 follow-ups from the people you spoke to yesterday. And then if you have more time, do 2 follow-ups to 2 people that you exposed last week. And then if you have more time, do 2 follow-ups to 2 people you exposed last month. And then if you have more time, do 2 follow-ups to 2 people you exposed last year. Now, it doesn't always go like that, okay, right? Because you really ideally want to follow up with everybody that you exposed in the last 30, 60, 90, 6 months, whatever. You want to follow up with them as many times as you can, because the average sale in the world of sales, not just in LegalShield, okay, but in the world of customers signing up for something, it takes usually 7 touches, 7 follow-ups for that person to be educated, get over their self-doubts, learn, right? To be able to make that buying decision on the 7th or 8th time. But, you know, 2 a day, 2 new a day is the most important seed you want to plant because you want to be planting seeds daily. Hey, there she is. I love it. I love it, Nadine. Good job. Gotta use those index cards. I just use a spiral notebook, right? The index cards are cool because that Nadine was holding up because you can move it like to a different pile, like hot pile, warm pile, cold pile. I like using the notebook. I mean, I would say it's 50-50 across the board what people like. I like using a notebook because I like to then, I'm like chronologically, where did I meet that person? Oh yeah, I met them about a month ago or around this time, so I can find them, you know, if I'm trying to look for them. But then that's why the cool thing is you've got Prospect by LegalShield, which is the backup where you can like search by name or search by like, I met them at Dunkin' Donuts coffee shop, you know, like you can search. But the daily deposits that you do today will lead to a daily harvest tomorrow. If I'm only planting one seed today, my chances of harvesting are only one or none times in the future. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right? So, but if I'm planting 2 seeds every day, my chances of harvesting in the future are at least 2 a day. I mean, not at least, you know, but is that the word? Yeah, at least 2 a day, right? I will eventually harvest 2 a day. And then the seeds that I plant, when you plant a seed, I'm actually starting gardening now. Okay, so I'm down this road of sustainability. My heart has been broken by all the, like, you know, when I visited Hawaii actually 2 years ago, and I'm like, I'm like, what? Hanama Bay coral reef has been destroyed. A percentage has been destroyed. I think, what did it say? Like, I was just reading about it this morning because I was thinking of you guys. It said, where is it? Where is it? A big portion of Hanama Bay coral reef, 47% of the corals at Hanama Bay suffered from coral bleaching. Oh my gosh, that's awful. So my heart has been broken by the pollution and global warming that we are doing as humans, right? Consuming, emitting global emissions. And they say by the year 2040, global emissions would have increased the temperature, the global temperature by 1.5 degrees Celsius. And that is the difference between having a glacier and having a glacier completely gone. And then some islands flooded over and parts of where you live not even there anymore. And that is also the 1.5 degrees Celsius is the difference of, you know, some major cities in China just being so lethally hot that people can't live there anymore. I mean, just so if you think of it, 2040 is not so far away. So in my efforts to be more sustainable, I've decided to grow my own vegetables. We'll see how that goes because I'm not the green thumb, okay? But, you know, I've got like strawberries and kale, squash, Brussels sprouts, broccoli. I mean, we're growing all sorts of fun stuff. But I say this to say that the seeds that you plant will, you know, will either harvest one, you know, you'll either have fruit that you can eat for the day, and maybe the plant doesn't ever reharvest again, or the seed, that apple, for example, that strawberry has all those seeds in there, then becomes another strawberry plant someday, producing fruit after fruit, harvest season after harvest season, like the associates that we find, like the Katrinas that we find, like the Mindys that we find, like the Nadines and Kellys that we find, right? And sometimes you'll have a, you know, one that develops an entire crop on their own, right? Like this huge crop, like the Ben Hilders that we find, right? You know, so understand that planting the seeds daily can only lead to daily harvest, but you have to stick with it. You can't give up too soon. I wanted to give up so many times. I wanted to give up when the amount of bills that I had were way larger than the amount of income that I was earning. And we have to be patient with ourselves because we are not building an income asset like the majority is, called a job, linear income. We're building a passive income that comes in whether you're working or not, a leveraged and residual income, which is the minority. The wealthy is the minority, okay? Or people that were smart to do those things. So just stay encouraged, because the daily, if you could make me a co-host so I could share my screen.
I'll make you, I think I can make you just host, but you can have it.
Okay,
I love it.
sure.
Awesome. Go for it.
So the daily deposits that you make today will, I promise you, if
Oh,
you
you're
are
gonna show them, you're gonna show them the money? Oh, this is so,
yeah, if
I
you're
love it.
consistent, can lead to daily deposits in the future. So, today, before I show you my deposits from LegalShield in the last 30 days, I do want to share that it wasn't always like this, okay? And that I remember just crying and praying and hoping that someone would um, that somebody would make a sale on the team, because maybe my pipeline was dry and my people had said no, because I was just praying that there'd be a surprise direct deposit to make that mortgage payment, I would pray, and then sometimes it wouldn't be there, but sometimes it would, and I'd say, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, right, for the grace. And that was only that came because I planted a seed weeks ago. We are always in the residual of our past thoughts and actions. So we're 90 days ahead of our activity, meaning the activity I do today is what pays me 90 days from now, and in general. And so that's where we need to be. But so just for example, the daily deposits on May 7th, 796 on then 218 the next day 339 the day before 91 $888, getting into April 248 250 $1,228, the day before 492, the day before 1,005, the day before 303 218 846 184, 201, 619, 300, 237, 271, 1,121, 307. And this one was a good day, $14,000, $368, for $30,000 approximately for the month and for the last 30 days. And, this business has allowed us to keep our family first. At first, I worked slowly to replace my full-time income working at the gym, and eventually I was able to do that with a full-time effort from LegalShield. Even though I was part-time in LegalShield because I had my full-time job, I gave it my full-time front burner energy, while I gave my job a back burner energy. And in 8 months of working this full time while I also had a full-time job, I was able to made enough to be able to say, okay, I could go full time in LegalShield. And we then I met my husband, David, 5 years in. And by the time I met him and got pregnant with my daughter, who's my oldest, she's now 11.
Wow.
I had a passive income from LegalShield over $100,000 a year that allowed me to stay at home and have 3 children ever since. And we love getting on the road. We love traveling, So before, these were Yosemite, Lake Tahoe, Yosemite, those are in California. This is the Grand Canyon in Arizona, and Sedona, Arizona, near Phoenix, where we're going to be going soon for convention. My husband likes to mountain bike and do these, like marathons for cyclists. And so we travel with him around the country, and while he's there, I'm at ostrich land with the kids, right? Doing some fun things, exploring different parts of the world. and we love to contribute as well. And so the business replaced my husband's income. So we got married, like I shared, and he saw how much fun that we were having, that I was having working from home with no stress, no boss, no deadlines, being able to sleep in whenever I wanted, being able to just, make my own schedule. And he's like, well, why am I off, sitting in rush hour, going to this office, hanging out, being around people that I don't necessarily like, with a boss that's breathing down my neck. So he decided to start work in the business as well. And then we eventually replaced his full-time 6-figure corporate income in IT tech. And David was invited to go to Costa Rica 2 years ago. So this is Costa Rica. He was invited on a leadership retreat with a personal development company, and, just to get to share what's on his heart to encourage people there. And this was my trip to Oahu 2 years ago. And you know what was so special about this trip? Besides getting a chance to see my Hawaii LegalShield family, which was just the most wonderful thing, and Ben and everybody. But I got to bring my mom. And you know what was special about that? She'd never been to Hawaii ever in her life. She was 70 years old then. Now she's 72.
At the beach and have that celebration. That was so awesome.
Yes, it was such a wonderful time.
We love your mom. We love your mom.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the baby.
Alamoana Beach Park. And what I love about this is there's a couple in the back getting married on the beach.
Candy popcorn. The baby wants candy popcorn.
Come on, I want candy popcorn. Let's go.
Ask Lucas, where's the popcorn? Okay, and he'll make it into candy popcorn. For breakfast.
People in the background getting married like every 20 minutes, remember?
Yes, right there. You're right. There's the bride. There's a bride. It's so funny.
That's Alamoana Beach Park down by Magic Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this was the forget what it's called, the park on the western side of the island. There's a big park. It's so beautiful, this mountain. That's a picture of my mom. I don't know if you could see her with the Zoom faces in the way, but look at that smile. I mean, it was her first time. And so it was really fun being able to take her with me. She just never been able to go. And every year we love to pay it forward and take our team. So, we feel fortunate getting a chance to win these free trips from LegalShield. So we take our top 10 on our team who may not necessarily qualify for the trips on a little trip that we sponsor on a cruise. Cruises are great because they're just so much value for the money that you get. They're all inclusive. And this was a Turks and Caicos Islands cruise. This was a cruise to Cabo, Mexico. And this was our national convention before the pandemic. And I can't wait to see all of you in Phoenix if you're able to make it. And there's Emson Sayud leading the fun squad. Ben, are you in here dancing? Are you dancing too?
I'd be at the hospital after that. No. I think I was security. I was serving as security.
Security, that's great.
Yeah.
But you were singing. You sang. So yes. I just love our conventions, being surrounded by positive, like-minded people. That's why it's important to show up to this stuff, because again, the majority is struggling financially in the world. The minority are the wealthy who are doing businesses like this, wanting to do better. It's not that you want to have more, right? Because as a Christian, I struggle with that word, have more. It's that I want to do better. If I can do better, I want to be able to do that. And so I being surrounded by people that are going in the same direction will only encourage you to do and continue to do this. And eventually you're financially free. We were able to pay off all of my credit card debt. Yes. And this was a picture of me crying on stage when I received my Millionaire Club pin, when it was announced that I was notified that I had eclipsed $1 million in income. in my LegalShield business. And I felt like, oh, this time's never going to come. It's taking too long. I'm never going to get here. But, you know, eventually, if you stick and stay, you do. And there's a quote by Robert Schuller that tough times never last, but tough people do. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for being here at 6 a.m. in the morning, Hawaii time. What is it, 7 a.m. in Alaska? Maybe also same time zone, 6 a.m. So, you know, and enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. And I love that LegalShield forces us to take vacation, right? Because you could get lost in doing it every single day, you know, and if they take 500 people every year on a free trip somewhere around the globe. And this was to Puerto Vallarta 1 year. And it's just amazing. They've taken us to Cancun. I've been able to say yes to ministry because of the time and resources I'm grateful for. This was my favorite mission to Uganda. David and I were able to go to Reykjavik, Iceland on our own. This was not the platinum trip. This was our own little getaway, and Europe and Maui, Hawaii that they sent us to 1 year, which was such a paradise. I was able to get involved in my church and say yes to 30 hours a week for 3 years, helping plant our church's, Saddleback Church's 19th location. And it just was such a time of my life, you know? You don't have to have it all figured out to move forward. You just need to take the next step. You just need to take the next step every day. So I'll end and turn it back to you, Mr. Hilger, with my favorite quote from the book of Galatians 6:9. And it says, "Do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap a harvest if you do not give up." I love you guys. Good to be with you this morning. Thanks so much.
Wow. 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 I'm speechless. Oh, I could take another hour. More. Wow. Thank you so much. And, you know, I know you already took down the slides, but the income slide was really interesting to me because what I saw, so you get personal advance, right? When you make a personal sale. So when you looked at that slide, there's a lot of zeros for personal advance for Miss Lequeux, meaning that she didn't make the sale. Like Mr. Katoa has never recruited the #1 recruiter, been the #1 producer. I'm not sure if Miss Lequeux has, but they've recruited him or their team has. So her override money. So eventually your paycheck's going to go from personal advance to override money to the residual. There you go. Yeah. So the personal advance column. So originally in the beginning, you're going to have money in the personal advance because it's you. You know, like PC Pro is me. Like I'm going to have to go ahead and make the money, right? But eventually, when you duplicate yourself from the 2 a day that Miss Lequeux is talking about, your override advance and your payment earnings, that's where you want your money to migrate to. That's the blessings you make with people. That's that right column of the $27. And then payment earnings is now you're into your residuals. So that's what, and then here's the other thing. See the chargeback? Miss Lequeux has been taught by Mr. Carruthers. Why would I worry about $5,000 in chargeback when I'm making $20,000 a month, right? So people focus on the wrong columns.
Yep.
And so as you grow in your business, you want to focus on the first 3. Chargeback, yes, reach out to them, make sure everything's okay. It wasn't anything that you did, but people are people. You can't do that. And then, so those are the columns I wanted you to see, family.
And these are bonuses. So help your people level up.
Level up and bonuses. Check that out. The commission adjustment is her team. Her leading her team has allowed her to have an extra blessing that she's not dependent on. It's just icing. It's extra gravy on your loco moco. And so I appreciate you sharing that, ma'am, because we'll get caught up in the negative column or caught up in, you know, some other columns where you're on the other side of having the hustle. So you're looking to duplicate yourself like the slide edge, where now you're getting paid for stuff you no longer do. And that's so important, ma'am, about planting the seeds, because eventually the crop is going to produce without you tending it.
So never give up. Never give up.
Wow, thank you for your time. Any other pearls of wisdom, like for this time right now? Like we're on a run for the end of this month, but then also for the end of June. What are you teaching your team real quick? A couple words or?
We are teaching our newest associates to introduce me to your top 3. So I'll put in the chat before I go, like the script that we're using, but basically the script is, hi, Allison, how are you? How's it going? How's the family? Hey, I was hoping that you can help me. And this is a text. You could text someone. So yeah, hey, I was hoping you can help me. I'm in training for my new company, and I have to watch my trainer share our services with 3 different people this week on a quick 15-minute Zoom. You may or may not be interested, but you'd be really helping me by allowing me to do this. Do you have 15 minutes sometime today or tomorrow? What time this week is best for you? And the new people are booking those times. Believe it or not, that's all they have to send, right? And they're booking the time. They're bringing us appointments. It's like, so as a sponsor, it's very easy to sponsor this. You're just sending them a text to send to their people. And then when the people are like, well, what is it? Oh, you're with a new company. You say, yes, I'm in training and I need to watch my trainer. Like, that's it, and they're like, well, okay, all right. And because they want to know, okay, well, what are you up to now? Right. Even if they're negative, like, what are you up to now? But okay, so I'll do it because I want to see what you're up to now. And when we're there as a sponsor doing that 15-minute kind of Zoom flip chart, as you will, just the product slides, just keeping it very brief and an overview, because you're just trying to expose them and let them know that it exists and then take them to the next exposure, to the next step. But you can kind of get the temperature if you've been around along and you're the sponsor doing it. You can take the temperature. You can see if the prospect is engaged and interested and like, wow. And now that you've met them, you have a relationship with them, that becomes your prospect. You're still going to sign them up on your person's site, but you are going to be able to like follow up with them because you now have a relationship. You're thinking about them because you spent 15 minutes with them, interacting and engaging. So I'll get their phone number. I'll say, Uncle Bob, thanks for helping Allison. Let me send you a PDF of our brochure. What's your cell phone? And I'll get his number and I'll text him and Allison at the same time. So now, well, Allison is watching me follow up with Uncle Bob in the right way. Like she's learning what I'm doing, what I'm sending, what happens next, right? Bob asks a question on the chat, on the text chat. And so she sees how I respond. And so it's a great way to use third party just for the first 3, Okay. But that's what we're doing. And I want to encourage you and all the women out there and the mommies out there. I want to encourage you. I know it's not always easy being a mom and a dad too, Ben, working from home, and then the baby comes and asks you for candy popcorn while you're doing a Zoom, right? So it's like, you have to have that balance and time blocking. If I could share that, I know I'm going long here, sorry, but like if I could share with the moms, like time blocking has just, it means so much because I have to have like a Maxwell is my 3-year-old. I have to have Maxwell and mommy mornings. Well, if I don't, then he wouldn't have come in and then walked out. He would have been, pulling on me and screaming on the Zoom if I hadn't given him a Maxwell and mommy morning yesterday, right? So like you have to time block and that way there's no mom guilt. I was listening to Marina Worry's event yesterday, right? And they were talking about, they had the mompreneurs speak last night at around 5 p.m. Pacific. And it was very helpful to listen to because as moms, we have guilt, right? While we're doing the mommy things, we don't have mom guilt, but while we're working our business, we have mom guilt. And so if you don't have to have guilt. You just have to have congruence. Congruence is when you're not doing what you want to be doing with your time, it leads to self-loathing. For example, if my goal is to performance qualify today, and let's say today's the deadline, and I'm sitting around watching Netflix, I am self-loathing. Okay, when you're not doing what you should be doing, it leads to self-loathing. I am self-loathing while I'm watching Netflix because in the back of my mind, I want to be performance qualified, right? That's where the self-loathing comes from, the guilt. Simultaneously, if I'm trying to have a day off, or I'm having a Maxwell and mommy morning and my phone rings and I take it, then all of a sudden I am resenting this phone call. I'm resenting the fact that I took it if it's taking a long time. I'm resenting the fact that that Maxwell's waiting for me and I'm doing this and I'm stuck on this call. The prospect can hear it and hit in my voice. I can feel it and nobody's happy, right? So time block and stick to those time blocks and be true to that time. So you could be doing what you intended when you were in your right mind, making that schedule, right? And knowing when you're planning. So that's it. That's it. It's good to see you guys.
Oh, yeah, if you can put that script in the text in
Oh yeah.
the chat, that'd be awesome. But thank you so much, family. This is gold. This is pure gold right here. And I was so appreciative of Miss Lequeux having the time to hop on, because my team is 98% strong women like Miss Lequeux, right? And so just wanted that different voice that you can hear that, you know, it is possible that you just, I mean, she gave us all, this is what I love about network marketing. You don't have to hide and hoard. So in our W-2 jobs, especially as an engineer, when I built cellular phone sites, there was things I learned how to do that made me marketable, but I didn't want to share them with anybody else. I wouldn't share them with you because it gave me an upper hand. Here, Miss Lequeux is sharing all her Legos. Like here, I want you to be as successful as we are, because we're all part of Team Pinnacle, right? Even though we're part of TMB, we're still part of Team Pinnacle, you know, because Mr. Carruthers sponsored Mr. Self. So we're all family here. That's what I love. And just such wisdom. Is anybody, like, I don't know, Miss Lequeux, if you have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions, maybe? Oh, awesome, guys. We're on bonus time right now. I don't want Maxwell to get upset. So if you have 1 or 2 questions, please unmute yourself and ask Miss Lequeux anything you want to add right now, or anything that you can help you to maybe explode your business. Because I feel the best way we can honor this call is not just through production, but having our names being said in June when we do the Super Saturday. So go ahead. Anybody got any questions for Miss Lequeux or anything you'd like to say? Anybody? Did such a great job. Miss San Nicholas, you got something?
Miss Lequeux, how do you juggle your because I know you do your B2B and you do your networking. How do you separate your time for B2B and networking? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So I actually am 100% network, but
Okay.
I will help my team. I did fortunately recruit a broker who just without any effort, they're just closing the LegalShield. Like they're telling they're mainly health insurance, and they're like, okay, we're doing your health and we're also bringing in LegalShield. Like they're giving the people no choice. So I am their face of LegalShield. And so if you see any B2B production from me, that's where it's coming from. So I really don't spend any of my time there. And it's not because I don't want to, it's just because I think my gifts, my strengths are in recruiting and
Sure.
team building and mentoring. So, but you know what? I do see people that do balance both on the team, and how they've been able to do it where it's not crazy because it's 2 totally different scripts.
Right.
It's 2 totally different rhythms, right? So the people on my team, the funny thing is top recruiters are on my team are also the top B2B producers on my team. What they're doing is they're doing this new associate script. Okay, which I'm almost done typing and I'll give it to you guys.
Okay.
So they're doing the new associate script, and we're telling them to meet with their immediate 3 loving and supportive people in their life. That is their mother, their sister, and their best friend. That is their father, their brother, or their best friend. And sometimes father is CEO of XYZ company. Sometimes their mother is HR director of XYZ company. And that's where it's coming from. They're networking, they're recruiting, and they're working through that new person's list. Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know that owns a business? Who do you know that, needs identity theft, right? Who do you know that needs to get their will done? And who do you know that owns a company? So that's how they're closing the group business.
I see.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll do one more. Let's get back to the family. Go ahead, Nadine.
I have a question. I have more members than associates on my team. How do you approach these new members with referrals? Because all my members is all different careers and so what would you do, to make one main topic, to reach out to all the members, the memberships?
So you're talking about you want to call your existing members and ask
Yes.
for referrals?
Yes.
I guess for me, the way it just works is just calling them and connecting with them. I maybe am not as, I guess I'm not necessarily asking the question, but what I would do is just call and connect with them and hear how they're doing, because they might just say, oh, well, this happened and this is happening in my life, and just being a good, a supportive person in their life. Maybe I might not have that close of relationship with them, so they might feel like I'm bothering them if I make that call. So I can get straight to it and I can say, hey, I just want to tell you how much we appreciate you. I will lead with the will. No, I will back up and say, when we do ask for referrals, it is, who do you know that needs to get their will done? I'm usually asking for their parents or their children, right? So do you know if your parents have prepared their will yet, or your parents, if you think parents are still around, right? And,
Yes.
and then do your children have a will? Would you like us to set up a healthcare power of attorney for your children?
Mhm.
So if they end up in the
Mhm.
hospital, you can be the one with the power of attorney to make those medical decisions on their behalf. And those are the easiest referrals, parents
Oh,
and children.
That sounds so simple. I figured that I was, trying to help them use the service, help them to get the service use, so their family members can see, hey, they can go out and say, hey, mom, guess what? I got this problem solved. Oh, by who? And who helped you? And so I was really focusing on my members, by helping them in the service that they need. Like one needed a landlord issue, and so, I was able to get them to get to the lawyer, Bavar and Jones here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And they live on Oahu. So I said, hey, if you have time, they tell you, come to the office, go to the office, meet them in person, live, not just online or on the phone. You're on the island, go and meet them, kind of thing. So that's what I was trying to focus on, is have them use the service as much as possible, like the perks and everything else. So I
Totally.
just want to hear you, Manao.
The more they use it, they become your raving fan. So for sure,
Yes.
you're doing it right. You're doing it totally right.
Right. Thank you so much. Much mahalo.
Wisdom. I see the script just dropped in the chat. So if you got to pull over, if you're driving, family, please pull over, copy and paste that. I know I recorded this, but if you want to crack that script, I know I'll probably go back and forth with Ms. Lequeux on, some finer details after this, so that we can put that into implementation too. Because this is what I do. So I can hop on and talk to your top three. You can even go to your members, like Ms. Lequeux just said, and drop that question to them about the estate planning. We can do one with another top three all day long. Because I love that concept. It falls in line with what Mr. Kato is saying, ma'am, is that find your three to set yourself free. So we find that three, we duplicate down. I'm pretty sure you've heard that before, but yeah, find your three that helps them set themselves free, because all we're looking to get is into that third level. So when you help three people and then we find their three, that's 12. After that, that's 36. If you have 36 people, 36 Liz Lequeux's on your team, you're going to Disneyland. Like, you're just like, out in peace. So that's all you're looking for, but you're only responsible for three.
I love that. I'm going to use that. Thank you. I got the nugget from today's training.
Yeah. Oh, you're so nice. You're so appreciative of us. So everybody, if you want to unmute and give yourself an aloha or a chiyu to Miss Liz Lequeux, I appreciate it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Much mahalo. Much mahalo noiloa from the Big Island. We appreciate
Aloha.
the
Always
nuggets.
nuggets, Miss Lequeux. Always nuggets. So awesome.
Oh, you got to give me host control back before you go.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful day. God bless.
You too.
Yes.
God bless you too.
All right,
All right.
hold on for 2 seconds. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. Bye-bye,
Yeah.
everybody.